Okay, and it's Asmodeus. We did it. We hit the lotto. Okay, let's not do this wrong. In the Altered TCG, Lyra is the faction of Chaos, but that doesn't just mean rolling the dice. In today's Altered TCG gameplay video using the Exalted fan-made digital platform, we're going to be playing an Auraq and Kibble Lyra deck that uses the 0 stats on all of our characters to build up to a slot machine where we pull the lever and we get a random card for free off the top of our deck, which can be anywhere from a 1/1/1 unit to a mighty Shenlong that'll take over the board for free that turn. We'll just have to see what we get, but either way, this deck has actually a surprising amount of play to it, so let's jump in, show you the deck list, and then we will get to our 3 games for the day. What's up, everyone? It's Dan with Maindeck, and welcome to our Auraq and Kibble Lyra deck Exalted gameplay video. We're going to do our little deck breakdown here, but I have to say this has been so far the hardest gameplay video to create because this deck requires that you kind of hit certain things for the gameplay to be exciting. And this deck itself is just very difficult to build at least with the current card pool in a way that really feels like it's satisfying and effective. And I went through several variations of this deck before settling on the one that you see right in front of you. I have played a lot of different cards in here, trying to make it all work out. And ultimately, this is the deck that I settled on. There are a number of card choices that you're probably going to think, why aren't you playing this or that? And I'm happy to answer your questions in the comments below because I've probably tried almost all of them. Trying to come up with the most effective build of this as I can. But let's just go through what I ended up on, the deck that I've actually gotten the most wins with and some of the tightest games against some of the harder decks in the format as well. So first of all, Auraq and Kibble is our Lyra hero, and she has a very interesting ability, which is whenever you play a character with a base statistic of 0, she gains a performance counter, and at noon you can spend 5 performance counters to flip the top card of your deck and either play it for free or put it in your hand. So you're going to play all the Lyra characters that have 0 stats all over the place to try and build up these counters. Your character does nothing until that turn, usually around something like turn 4 or so, turn 3, turn 4, when you can flip a free card and you are just going to hope that it is not one of your cheap 0 statted characters. You're going to hope instead it's one of our jackpot characters, like to call them. Asmodeus and Shenlong are the big ones in here. So as usual, I'm going to start by going through the rares so you can kind of understand where we packed a little bit more of the power in, and then we will go through all of the common cards in the deck. So the first thing is Cernunnos, which probably is going to look like a weird card in this deck for you, but the reason that I put Cernunnos in is because still Lyra fights tooth and nail, especially on turn 1, to be able to not just completely give the game up to the opponent. It's very easy with the number of 0 stat characters in this deck for the opponent to get a double progression on turn 1 when all 3 of the region types are active on both sides. So Cernunnos is in here for 2 reasons. Number 1, on turn 1, Cernunnos is a good drop to hold down one side and usually take a progression while denying your opponent one. And number 2, when you do happen to flip a Cernunnos off of the free card from Auraq and Kibble, it does not feel bad. It feels okay. So Cernunnos is in here because it is a totally reasonable constellation prize on the Auraq and Kibble flip, and because turn 1, we really just need a little bit of power. Sometimes you just need to have this card in your hand that goes, well, I think I'm going to lose the game if I lose both sides this turn, and Cernunnos will hold them down. We have Off You Go in here as well. Again, it's on this concept that Lyra can't control a lot of what it's doing. So putting control pieces in the deck to control what the opponent's doing at least give you some part of the game where you are able to sort of pull off these sort of surprise victories and take a side you weren't expected to, or deny the opponent a side that they thought they would get. So I like Off You Go in here in the rare slot because it is an efficient removal that deals with a lot of the powerful decks in the format that are good against Lyra. Things like Ordis and Bravos have often cheaper characters that can pump up their power. Muna as well. Off You Go helps deal with some of those because if the opponent is sticking free tokens or anchoring mushrooms that are just have boost counters on them, that's too many kind of free stats all over the place for you to fight, so you need tools to be able to deal with it. Ouroboros Croupier is a wonderful card for the stats. It is a 0-statted card, so it is going to trigger Auraq and Kibble, and it still has 5s on it in some relevant stats. Mountain is sometimes a little harder to get based on the characters that we have available. And Ouroboros Croupier also gives you some card advantage back when you play it from hand, and has an activate from reserve, which can sometimes help you get out those higher cost characters that you're trying to lotto into when they get stuck in your hand. We have Robin Hood in here. Robin Hood has not disappointed me yet. I've really enjoyed Robin Hood this deck. Now, the stats are not the best on Robin Hood, but Robin Hood usually really screws up the opponent's turn to the level where it feels like it's worth having the slightly lower stats. And Robin Hood 0 on the stat bar is actually awesome because, again, it triggers Auraq and Kibble, and it gives you a really nice play. Sometimes when you have the first action in a turn, when you're the starting player, that Robin Hood will completely screw up the opponent's turn. While also progressing you towards your free Auraq and Kibble card, and it also has the reserve ability that you can use again to try and get an earlier drop Shenlong or Asmodeus if you'd like to. And of course, Shenlong. We have to play Shenlong in here because Shenlong is the big lotto hit in Lyra right now. This out-of-faction Shenlong from Bravos is just an 8/8 for 6, but a free 8/8 on your turn is absolutely like game-changing when you hit it. So you have to play it so you can try and hit it. And then as for the commons, we play Asmodeus in here as well. Initially, when I built this deck, I was relying on only trying to hit Shenlong, and that just wasn't enough. It did not happen frequently enough, and Asmodeus is in here to give us 6 cards in our deck that are like jackpot hits, where Asmodeus can come down as an 8/8 as well, or a 5/5/5 anchored. So either way, you kind of get a decent end of the stick. The 8/8 is often preferable because sometimes that flip is happening on a crucial turn when it's like time to win, but hitting that anchored, if you hit that flip a little earlier, can actually help you secure one side over multiple turns, which is hugely valuable as well. So Asmodeus ended up being a really awesome choice in here. I prefer the common one because it has bigger stats and we're trying to cheat the cost anyway. Now, looking at some of our smaller drops, we have Hathor in here, who's just a 3/3 with a 0 stat to trigger Auraq and Kibble, and has an ability to return another card from reserve to hand, which is occasionally useful for things like Rare Off You Go, especially. That can be really nice. Chronicler is in here as a 4/0/4 for 3. That's it. Stats are okay for 3 as long as you can arrange that 0 to not be hurting you. That's a big part of the strategy of this game, is like once you get off those starting locations, you're trying really hard to manage the stats that you have access to so that you are playing decent stats as much as possible to fight the opponent and help yourself advance. And not get penalized for having 0s on board, of course. Lyra Cloth Dancer in here. I like the Cloth Dancer quite a bit. Just a little bit of a disruptive piece. A 0 statted character, so it triggers Auraq and Kibble. That 3 Mountain can be nice as well. And that giving a character fleeting can help deny the opponent's cards. Again, we're trying to get a little bit of control worked in so that we can control the opponent at least, even if we can't control ourselves. We have Lyra Navigator, who is just a 2-cost from hand with a 4 stat in water. Probably one of the more resource cards in the deck because you have to be on the 1 mono water space in the game for it to be like really useful. But when you are, that is actually like pretty crazy stats for the cost, which makes it worth it, but gets resourced a lot instead. But do note that you don't get 2 performance counters for having 2 zeros, unfortunately. Otherwise, this next card would be insane. Ouroboros Trickster, who has 3 zeros, so still, again, only 1 performance counter. But Trickster is awesome because it costs either 2 from hand or 1 from reserve, which means if you see multiple Tricksters, you're able to kind of power out your free performance counter card a little faster. And if you roll well, which as you'll see in the gameplay, I never, ever roll well with Trickster, then you can actually get some pretty good value for the cost as well. Unfortunately, in this deck, she's mostly just a 1/1/1 for 2 and then a 1/1/1 for 1 for me. But that's okay. She still gets our Auraq and Kibble ticked up, and it gives us that cheap kind of like 1 cost after you that we can use in later turns to see where the opponent's playing to so that we can try and manage our 0-statted characters as efficiently as possible. Paint Prison. You got to run this. You got to run it. In Lyra, it is a clutch card because it has no restrictions on what it can target. It does send the card to top of deck, which means if it was a card with fleeting, they're going to get to play it twice again, potentially, but it's okay because this will deal with the key things, the turns you need them to. Your opponent might go all in on an Ordis monolith, and then you can just simply pay 3, getting rid of a card from reserve, paint prison it, and then play something somewhere on some side to be able to take a free side that turn and set the opponent back. Having to play that monolith another time is actually pretty backbreaking against Ordis when you can line that up. And then finally, you have Tanuki in here, our last little sabotage piece, but I do love Tanuki in here because that 0 stat triggers Auraq and Kibble and has that clutch sabotage and that mountain stat, which again, sometimes we're a little lacking on. So Tanuki works really nicely in here as well. That is everything. Again, I have tried many other cards in this deck, and I would love to hear from you. Things like Esmeralda, you might be wondering where those are, but a lot of things were pushed away to try and make sure we have these control pieces, make sure we have enough lotto winners, you know, the jackpots in the lotto that we can hit to be able to really get advantage. Because when Auraq and Kibble does nothing for 4 turns of the game and then does nothing but flips a Lyra Navigator into play when you're not on water, or flips a Trickster into play and then you roll a 2 and it's just a 1/1/1, that is not enough of a character effect to win the game. But when you're flipping even something like Cernunnos, or Asmodeus, obviously, or Shenlong, or Robin Hood, when you're flipping anything like that, you're actually getting a pretty strong character effect on that turn that is able to sort of make up for missing those turns of doing, you know, anything. Most games, you're only going to flip one thing. That's okay. Some games, the game goes really long. It's a very defensive opponent, and your stats line up well. You can get 2 flips, but a lot of the time, it's just the one. You're just get 1 pull, and you hope you hit the jackpot. But it is a tricky deck to play to manage your stats, but it is a very fun deck. I did have a lot of fun playing this, but I had to play an awful lot of games to get the following gameplay videos for you guys. So just in advance, the following gameplay videos were over course of actually a couple of weeks, multiple nights, and I'm going to piece together the ones that I think make the best collage of gameplay for this deck. So I hope you enjoy these gameplay videos, and we will catch you in the games and at the end of the video. So let's check them out. New game against a Bravos opponent here, Kashigami. How's it going, Kashigami? We do have a Shenlong in hand. We're just going to dump that right now. We are not going to be needing that. Let's see, Trickster, Chronicler. I think we'll keep Tanuki, dump the Chronicler. And Paint Prison pretty good against Bravos. So let's hold on to that. And to kick off our first turn, Tanuki not great. I guess we could have done the other 3 drop here, but we'll just start off with our Trickster. We'll hope we roll well. We did not, of course. Not the most astounding turn in the world. Bravos will certainly be able to shut us out from that side. Yes, easy shutout from the Foundry Armor there. And unfortunately, that is a pass for us. And only progression for them. Now, they only progress on one side at least, so there's that. Wow, oof, another Shenlong and an Asmodeus. It's not feeling likely that we're going to hit a Shenlong on the Auraq roulette this time. What do I prefer to play, Asmodeus or Shenlong? I guess let's keep the Asmodeus. But, you know, not the most exciting thing in the world. Oh, this is going to be a tough game. Yep. Haven, Bravos, Bastion out there. Now, this Booda... Let's see, that was only 2 of their 4. We can still potentially progress on that side. Let's start just by playing the Trickster here. They can't play either of these. 2 again, of course. We'll see what else they do. They're going to play a Pathfinder over there, which is fine with us. That means we get to progress on that side. We'll progress on this side too then. And we'll actually Tanuki, and what are we going to dump? The 3/3/3 or the Foundry Armor for sure. We will sabotage the Foundry Armor with our Tanuki, and we actually get to progress on both sides. So, not terrible. We're at least pretending to keep up with them. Tanuki, Cernunnos. We really are going to need to get, I think, to the flip. I think we're just going to play the Croupier here, and we have the potential to shut them out on either side, but here we're going for different stats, so I think it makes sense to play the Croupier over on this side, roll a 1, and get a resupply off of that, and it's our... no, our third Shenlong. Third Shenlong gone. All the Shenlongs out of here. How are we going to pull off our sneaky tricks? How are we going to get a jackpot when we lose all of the Shenlongs? Nothing to do with the one, unfortunately. Tanuki's going to be an easy ditch from the reserve. With the ability to Shenlong or Asmodeus next turn, so that's kind of cool. I feel like this could be going worse than it is. Yeah, we'll ditch the Tanuki. We'll find a new Tanuki and a Cloth Dancer. I mean, I do like... I like the Tanuki play. I like the potential of Tanuki Paint Prison, actually. I mean, I'm quite tempted to play a 6-drop. But we're going to see what they do. They're going to sabotage our Shenlong. Okay, that's what they'll do. So they can play up to a 5 power on this side if they play the Haven Bouncer also. We can still Tanuki shut them down a little bit. Tanuki Paint Prison does shut them down, but puts us down pretty far on cards too. And this doesn't progress us at all. No, it's water on this side. Ooh, okay, not ideal. But we can do it on this side instead. That's fine. And this lets us get a free flip next turn, whereas Asmodeus would not have. So maybe we can't hit Shenlong, but maybe we can hit Asmodeus still? There's a chance? Okay. And over here, we're going to apply our modifier, ditch this, and let's go ahead and... it's Mountain we're fighting over, so yeah, we need to get rid of Sun Wukong. Okay. So now we really have to hold down the fort pretty well here. But we're going to get our free flip this turn. 3, 4, Croupier. Yeah, we got stats. We got stats, we got Croupier to get some value back. Okay, I don't feel terrible about this. Let's see what we get. Come on. Robin Hood. Okay. Robin Hood. Yeah, Robin Hood's all right. So Robin Hood is 303, which means he'll be perfect on the companion side, or on the hero side. I mean, on the hero side. And Robin Hood will hopefully kind of screw up their turn as well. That's a great flip to get. Wow. Wonderful. And then, let's see, we do have the Croupier as well. Let's just... we can try and just totally lock them out of stuff here. It's going to be really difficult for them to win on this side, so even though we only have 3 in water, it might make them less inclined to push over here, because it's a lot tougher for them to win. And Croupier is going to match really well over on this side. I could have played Croupier first just to get the extra card in reserve to see, you know, to have more options, but I think this is fine. Okay, we're actually going to draw a card. Sweet. That works out perfectly. There we go. That was the turn we were looking for. Nice job. Free Robin Hood was sick there. Okay, 2, 2, 4 is kind of looking like the play, I think. We also have 2 and Asmodeus as an option, too. But I think getting that Robin Hood down will be helpful. We only have to win on one side. How do our stats line up? I mean, we can push all in on Forest where they're pushing on Mountain. That might actually be good because Sun Wukong isn't great at Forest. So get rid of these water ones. We have an Off You Go available. But Booda comes in on this side. Shoot. Oh, that makes it harder. Yeah, but the Croupier is huge on this side. We just have to not... Oh, we can Off You Go this. Oh man, that's pretty good. Okay. I kind of want to try this actually. Let's see, the Chronicler is not, or the Navigator is not good at all though. We have to be careful. We have to be really careful here. But if we play Robin Hood, I think that makes it hard for our opponent to win. Because that makes them have to pay 4 for the bouncer. And then we can off you go it. And that's it! We got it! That Robin Hood was clutch! That free Robin Hood made that turn really, really sweet. Well done. Great game, Kashigami. And I'm excited that we got there. That was actually a pretty decent free flip. Ooh, MT Ross playing Afanas and Senka for another game today here. Afanas and Senka, very fun hero. I'm excited to see this one again. When you play a spell, target character you control gets 1 boost. Very neat deck, so excited to see this play out. Looking at her hand, let's dump Chronicler. Tanuki. Ooh, Tanuki's always good. Do you ever actually dump a Sabotager early on? I don't know if I can. Asmodeus we don't need right now. And looking like a similar start to other ones we've had. Paint Prison. Is Paint Prison even going to be that good this time? Yeah, it probably is. It probably is good. Removal's probably good because he's going to be dumping a lot of boost counters on his, like, probably 1 unit. So Paint Prison might actually get him pretty good at some point. All right. Afanas and Senka starting off with a Studious Disciple. Okay, not a bad start. Let's just drop our Trickster on the other side then. We'll roll our 2, we'll get a 1/1/1, and we'll... yeah, unfortunately, we'll let them potentially just crush us, depending on what they have. Now, Yzmir's drops aren't that good. So, I mean, I can think of a few that maybe they're running that they could get us with. Ooh, Sneezer Shroom. Yep, alright, well, I guess we're at least going to tie there, but not a great start, unfortunately. Just 1 progression on their side. Okay. We need to make up some lost ground now. We do have a Chronicler. Not a good time for Navigator. Although Navigator is good on this side to block them off. Chronicler is just as good. Let's get that Sneezer Shroom getting boosted. Is it worth even fighting on that side? We could both get a progression potentially. I guess... putting the Trickster over here doesn't make a lot of sense, so we'll just start by playing the Trickster over here. Ooh, nice, okay, we'll get our 2/2/2. That might be nice to see. And depending on what they do, the Chronicler or the Tanuki are both options. Meditation Training. Oh, I kind of wish I could Paint Prison that thing now. Okay, so I could play the Chronicler over there. If they have another spell to play, like a Beauty Sleep, that would be pretty strong for them. A Beauty Sleep would actually just wreck us this turn. A Tanuki on the Meditation Training... let's go for it. Let's see what they have, I guess. I really was debating that Tanuki, but we have 4 in Forest still, so the Studious Disciple can't win out here. But any boost, which Afanas is pretty able to hit. Off you go. Okay, yep, off you go will dunk on us as well. They should off you go the Trickster and then just beat the Chronicler that way. Oh, or they could off you go the Chronicler. You could do that too. That still gives us our progression though. Wow. Alright. Well, that could have gone worse. Okay. I like the Hathor into Paint Prison play this turn, because I think they're going to try and meditation training their Sneezer Shroom again. So let's let them just play right into that. I'm going to play a Tooth Fairy to get rid of my Chronicler. That kind of defeats my play entirely, actually. Huh. Well, that was pretty good. Well, I can't shut them out, and we're only fighting over water there, and Hathor and Tanuki are terrible on water. But they have no cards left in hand? Oh, hang on, they have no cards in hand. Okay, we got something here. We got something here. We can Tanuki the training. They could play the Studious Disciple out, but that's going to be a pretty bad use of cards for them. And we still can win on Forest, so it won't matter. Okay, yeah, they're just going to pass. We'll just go ahead and win here, and we're going to get a free card next turn. So we'll get to roll the dice, see what we get. Not literally roll the dice, but our figurative rolling of the dice with Auraq and Kibble. Pull the arm of the slot machine and see what comes out. Well, there's one of our Shenlongs. Robin Hood here. I still think this Paint Prison is going to be good. Okay, but we're at Shenlong territory now. I think we're past the point of enjoying having Robin Hood as much as Shenlong, at least. Robin Hood's so good, though. Cernunnos. Okay. I put this card in here specifically because it is not a bad hit. And I didn't want another bad hit. Cernunnos needs to be played on the Hero Expedition, because we have no access to water. So Cernunnos just gives us a strong body on that side. And on this side, we'll go ahead and let's just play the Tanuki here. They've gone down on cards so much. How did all this even happen? The off you go. I mean, just they devoted their play to the Sneezer Shroom, pumping it up with meditation trainings. They had played too many cards. They had to discard a card to reserve. That's right. That was another thing that happened. So Baba Yaga. Okay, Baba Yaga is a decent card for them to see right now. They're probably not terribly mad about that. Yeah, but I don't see how they can fight us here. We should just get an easy double progression this turn by just pushing out. There's Shroom. Oh no, they didn't progress because we were winning on Forest. I did the math wrong. You all probably caught that. But yeah, they were on Forest and we just beat them on Forest. I got my biomes mixed up there. Okay, we're going to have 7 this turn. Another Cernunnos. Just kind of playing a bunch of Cernunnos doesn't feel terrible either, though. That's okay, though. I don't think we're going to need it. I think this Yzmir player is wishing they had an After You floating around right now. Oh, these sabotages, though. These are getting me. If I just drop Shenlong on that side, what do? They still win on the other, unfortunately. But without that Cernunnos, my plays are not great. Hathor is actually not good here. I think I'm just going to drop the Shenlong. I don't know what else I would do. Big Dragon! Yep. And that's fine. We only spent the 1 card this turn. We're tied up with them, but I like our hand a lot more. Ooh, Robin Hood, too. Croupier and Robin Hood. Okay, what are we looking at? Mountain. Mountain versus grass on this side, so Hathor is pretty good. Mountain versus forest, I should say. We have mountain forest versus water forest over there. You know what? Do I just give up on the paint prison? This just hasn't been... it hasn't been time for paint prison. The paint prison just wasn't ever... I mean, it had one turn where it was potentially going to be really good, and then they sabotaged me that turn. So, what can you do? I kind of want a Robin Hood here. If I Robin Hood, I can block them off on that side pretty well. Make everything cost a bunch for them. Are they going to sabotage my Shenlong? Do I care if they sabotage my Shenlong? Not really. I don't think so. Let's Robin Hood over here and stifle their mana this turn. So they almost assuredly won't be able to play all 4 cards out. The Baba Yaga for 4. Okay, so we're still winning on that side. By the looks of it, I don't think they can win on that side. This doesn't stop them at all, though. I'm kind of forced to play Hathor, actually. Just based on stats. If I want to actually stop them. But I think because of the tax from Robin Hood, I don't think they can actually contest a 3-3 on that side either. So, I think it's okay. Disciple to play a spell, okay. Kraken's Wrath to bounce my board. Well, just one of them. Total hand cost. It's not the rare Kraken's Wrath. If it was rare Kraken's Wrath, that would have been really strong. Okay. You know what? Good play. I like that. Okay. Yeah, I can't do anything else. I wish I had a little 2-drop here so that I could get a free play next turn. Let's see, we're going to go to 9. So, Robin Hood is really good, though. And he makes the next card cost 1 less too. Oh, let's ditch Hathor then, actually. Because we can do Robin Hood Croupier then. Okay, not the stats I'm looking for right now. We found a Hathor anyway. So if we stall out, we get a free card next turn. What have they drawn? Mountain Forest, Forest, Water are our 2 competing areas. Oh! Hitting the Shenlong. Not bad. Okay, so Forest Water is our competition on this side now. Yeah, I mean, I think jamming this over here makes sense. Robin Hood tax going to come in clutch again, I think. We may end up going to a tiebreaker here. Okay. So they did 3-3-3. I think Croupier can't lose there either. Again, because of Robin Hood. Robin Hood's looking really good. But if they have... What could they have? Does Banishing Gate cost 4? If they have a removal that hits Croupier, then we'll go to a tiebreaker. And then we'll get a free card from Auraq and Kibble. And that'd be... Oh, they have an Alice. Okay. But we are still winning on Mountain. The Alice doesn't get it for them. We still win on Mountain there, so we double progress. And shut them out entirely, because Mountain was the only thing that mattered for them. So, wow, okay, alright, well, we did it. Nice. We did hit a Cernunos that game, which was not the worst hit, but unfortunately, I'm not sure we're hitting any of the really, really sick hits in this deck. But, you know, there you go. We still had another win with the deck, and you got to see the power of Robin Hood that game. All right, another game against Ordis. This is Obero, I believe an opponent that we've played before. And what kind of a starting hand do we have here? We have 2 Shenlongs. That's 2 Shenlongs and Asmodeus. locking away a lot of our great lotto hits here, unfortunately. We're just going to take all 3 of those and put those in mana orbs because they cost way too much to be able to get out anytime soon. Let's hold on to some cards we can actually play with instead. And we're just going to have to hope that our last Shenlong or our last 2 Asmodeus are waiting on top for when we finally get to pull the slot machine arm of Auraq and Kibble. Opponent played, let's see, a 2/4/2 over there and 1/1 here. So we can actually, unfortunately, we can't stop them on both sides, but Cernunnos is an excellent turn 1 play, although it doesn't set us up for Lotto. But let's at least try and just lock them down over here so we can progress here and they'll progress on the hero side. 1 progression on each side, not a bad way to start for Lyra. Hathor, Robin Hood. Robin Hood on the play. We get the first play this turn, so I think Robin Hood actually looks pretty good. Hathor would be nice to save to be able to use with Cernunnos, but let's just hope we draw a different 2-drop instead, because I'd like to hold on to both of our removal pieces here, I think. Okay, so we'll take our Robin Hood, and where do we want to go with this? Let's put it not on the side where they already have a token. So we'll push Robin Hood over here, which does fight them since they're on Forest, and maybe we can snag it with Forest or Water. Hopefully this tax is... No, it's not. Unfortunately, the Haven Warrior just straight destroys us there, so... Well, that's too bad. Kind of unfortunate. 1 progression on each side because Ordis had the token there and we simply couldn't keep up. Okay, so looking at this hand... We did not get another 2-drop, but we do have the Off You Go, so we could do something with Cernunnos Off You Go or Lyra Chronicler Off You Go. Let's pick one of those 2 to use. Man, I think we're going to have to rely on the Chronicler, so I guess what we'll do is we'll ditch the Croupier. It feels bad to do, but I think we need to play these zeros just to get Auraq and Kibble built up here. Otherwise, we're going to have basically a blank hero. And they got rid of our Cernunnos, which is fine. We don't have a problem with that. Here, what we want to do is play Chronicler on this side where the 0 is not impactful at all. And then hopefully we'll have a decent off-you-go target somewhere as well. No, well, we can actually. So that means we can use the off-you-go to deny them the progression this turn, which I think I'm totally okay with. That'll help us catch up at least a little bit. They're still pretty significantly ahead. Ordis is just such a strong matchup when they can just put these cheap or free tokens anywhere they want to, and we have so many zeros on our characters. Go to 6 next turn, so we should probably keep the Chronicler. I think Off You Go will just get too expensive at that point. Cloth Dancer could be okay for getting a little bit of extra value. We also have Robin Hood Trickster, which isn't terrible. I think let's just get rid of the Cloth Dancer. Okay, so now they get to use the Brass Bug Hub. And they're going to have a lot of tokens out, and it's going to be hard to fight. Let's see if they choose to do it. They chose not to, which makes me think they might be playing an Ordis Monolith this turn. Or they're planning on playing both of these. I think our Robin Hood can really deny them some action here. But the stats are just terrible for it. For both these stats are honestly really bad. Well, we can still progress on this side with Robin Hood, so let's try that. Our 2 available will let us potentially get the Trickster somewhere if we can at least sort of tax them out of being able to play the turn they wanted to. Okay, they're pushing on that side with a Recruit here, so our Trickster is actually, I think, going to do some good work here. Going to allow us to fight on that Recruit side, and it's unlikely they can play anything because of Robin Hood now. There we go, yep. 1-drops are scarce, so Gives us a progression on the companion side as well, so we are continuing to move up. However, this is normally the turn when we get to activate Auraq and Kibble. Because of that Cernunnos, it's just not materializing for us. Navigator only is a defensive piece right now and not even a good one. So Navigator is going to be the easy choice to reserve here, with the potential of playing Shenlong and Ouroboros Trickster, which is actually a pretty strong turn. So yeah, this time easy activation of the Brassbug Hub. They're pushing on that side though. That's kind of interesting to me. I'm really happy that they're on the play this turn though, so we get to see they played their own Robin Hood. Ooh, okay, so that means we can't play Shenlong and Trickster. We have to actually make a decision now. But was that their entire turn? It might actually be. If that's their entire turn, that's okay. I mean, they'll still get a progression. So I'm thinking we have the ability to paint prison into one of these, but that's not strong enough because we only need mountain here. Mountain's terrible, unfortunately. So we won't be able to totally block them either way. I want to get them off of mountain though, honestly. The mountain is kind of tough for us, so I'm just going to go ahead and play the Shenlong, I think. We'll play the Shenlong here. Take our progressions. We're going to lose the Chronicler. And we have another Trickster and a Cloth Dancer. Cloth Dancer at least has a mountain, but hopefully we'll be able to progress there soon. Let's get rid of the Cloth Dancer. And this time, even with Robin Hood... No, not with Robin Hood. I'm terrible at math. 6, 7, 8. Now we need 9 with Robin Hood, but we get to play first. So even with Robin Hood, then we do. Yes. Okay, I knew I could get there eventually. Let's start with the Shenlong because they may have a sabotage. I really don't want to get sabotaged. We are going to show our hand with the Shenlong, unfortunately. This is kind of dicey. It would be better to play the Ouroboros Trickster first. But let's just go for it. We can't... I don't think we can lose the Shenlong here. I don't think we can risk losing it. They're just going to play a carrier. Okay. And in that case, I'm going to play this Trickster from hand and play it over here. And we have the chance of actually... We can at least tie them for now. So they do have to commit more to that side in order to progress. And we're going to get this fairly close with our free Auraq and Kibble roll. And if our Auraq and Kibble roll is the, like, Asmodeus that we're hoping it is, we can actually hit a jackpot, then I think we still have the chance to take this very difficult game against Ordis. Even with this carrier. Yep, okay, so they're going to play the Robin Hood now, which is totally fine. It's going to be a progression on each side, putting them 1 away from victory, and us 2. With 2 Tricksters and a free roll available. 8, we have our Paint Prison ready to go. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, the Navigator's actually good here, too. The Croupier and the Navigator are both extremely high stats. I think we have to lose the Paint Prison. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, then it doesn't matter. We don't have to resource anything, is the solution here. No resource. We're going to get our free Auraq and Kibble card, and we're just hoping it's good. As soon as they're done putting out all their free tokens. Okay, and... It's Asmodeus! We did it! We hit the lotto! Okay, let's not do this wrong. So they have water on both sides, water and mountain. Oh, our stats are so good for this right now. Okay. They have higher stats on the hero expedition. So should we push there? We push stats over there. I think we push our stats over there. Yep. We rolled the 6, which is the, unfortunately, the anchor. We really didn't want the anchor this turn, but I guess that'll be valuable if we do go into the tiebreaker turn. Still getting the free 5/5/5. I think that can do a lot for us. And we have the Paint Prison available to answer anything. We might actually be able to get there because of that. Okay, Kakaba down. Kakaba has huge stats. I think we just have to play it a little slowly. I think we play slowly here. Because we could do something like Trickster into Croupier into Paint Prison. Seems reasonable. So we're going to put the Trickster out on this side. And just get a small stat. Small extra stat on that side. 666 there. They're pushing hard. They're pushing hard on that side. Okay. Okay. What do we do about that? They only have 2 mana left. Can they play anything? 4 or 5. We can actually... The Navigator, Trickster, Croupier is a sequence that does get us there. We're going to push the Croupier onto this side and see what we roll into, I think, and see what they play after that. Okay, so we resupply another Trickster, actually. Kind of funny. They did have a Monolith Runescribe. Okay. Shoot. They have the Monolith Runescribe. I don't know if we can win on that side then. No, we can't. 9, 10, 11. The 11, I think, is the best we can do now. Oh, no. We were so close. We could ditch the 5 and bring it down, but not nearly enough. And we have no way to make things cheaper. Ah, shoot. They have, if they didn't have this Monolith Runescribe, I think we actually could have tied this up. They went on Mountain there too, though. Actually, we couldn't have tied it up. We would have had a Paint Prison something. Yeah. That was so close. We almost got there, but not quite. But we did finally hit. We finally hit a jackpot on our lotto. So I think that is still exciting and was still a lot of fun. So I think we might have to just call that there, having hit a jackpot and having had a number of other games, as you guys saw, where we were able to hit some pretty key cards off the lotto. So the Auraq and Kibble deck is certainly, it's a challenge to play, I find. The playing around the 0 stats is quite tricky, but I think a lot of players will really enjoy the challenge that you'll find in this deck. And then having the fun sort of pull of the slot machine arm, see what you get, can enable, I think, a lot of really fun games. And it makes your deck building interesting, where you really want to build with a lot more higher end in mind, just so you can have those hits in the deck. So I think that's going to do it for our gameplay video this week. This one took a while to put together just to get enough games that were interesting to watch, but I do hope you guys enjoyed that one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.